Hey guys, welcome back to Chris is Losing It, and I am losing it. It'll be 7 complete days by the end of today since I went carnivore. In that time, I've lost over 10 pounds, which is amazing. To be totally honest, it's been carnivore which has slipped a little into keto from time to time. But everything I've done has lifted way above where I was before. So aiming for carnivore has really helped me to stay on track. I've had some keto indulgences. I've slipped into keto a couple of times. Things like onions and peppers. I have also stepped out of keto twice, only on 2 occasions now. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass about being fat adapted and all that. That's not what it was. As I said before, I'm in a very stressful situation in my life. On 2 days, that has meant that I've felt emotionally very difficult, emotionally very unsettled, unstable, not happy. And I've ended up having a couple of carby things. Now, again, that is way less than I normally would have. I was full-blown sugar and carb addicted. So I'm doing way better than I was before. I'd say I've done about 50% carnivore, about, say, 30%, 40% maybe of keto, and then like 10-20% of just eating. Not even eating normally, but kind of falling off, which, it happens. I'm not going to let it derail me. I'm going to try and do it less and less and be encouraged by my results. So I was inspired to do this watching Ken Berry's videos, Dr. Ken Berry. Now, he's a family doctor. He's a general practice doctor. He obviously has a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding. But he's not a specialist like people like Dr. Eric Westman, who is a obesity and metabolic health specialist. So he's kind of more practical. The way I see it is what Dr. Berry calls a proper human diet. That's kind of his brand. He says is beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That is, I think proper human diet is kind of a misnomer. He said he's using it as a kind of way to manage sugar addiction and trigger foods. I think that what he calls the proper human diet, in other words, strict carnivore, I think is basically a dietary intervention. So if you're in a situation like me where you've got 100 pounds to lose or more, if you can jump into strict carnivore and do it as much as possible, you will lose that weight as quickly as possible. I am scientifically minded. I'm not qualified in any of these areas. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. But what I think is that if you're thinking about evolutionary biology, and that's what Dr. Berry mentions a lot, I think that proper human diet and saying it's pure carnivore can't be right. If we weren't omnivores, we wouldn't have molars for smashing up vegetable matter. So I think probably what we're all hoping for is to have a normal, whole food, healthy human diet long term, which is going to involve meat, organic meat, hopefully, but, meat. It's going to have some vegetables, and it's going to have the occasional kind of treat, because we've got to live in the real world, right? I'm not going to be radical about things like sweeteners. What I think will happen is, as my sugar consumption drops, I will be using things like artificially sweetened soda pop to meet a craving. And I think as my body understands that the sugar reward is not coming, I will want that less and less. In fact, I'm moving towards water even now. So I think the carnivore proper human diet is an intervention. It's not a lifestyle for most people. So anyway, after almost 7 full days of carnivore slash ketovore as they say, I feel fine and my energy levels are good. So I've also done one 43-hour fast during this period, and again I felt fine. It's surprising how easy it is when you're doing it. If you just stay busy, just do your normal day, make sure you stay busy, go out and do things, do some exercise even. I have not noticed that my energy has ever dropped low enough that I can't exercise or I can't walk 10,000 steps in a day, you know? So just do what you can, and I'm sure it'll be all right. You know, that's what I'm finding anyway. There's no problem with energy levels. One thing I will say is that some of the nights in the last week I have struggled to sleep, or I've struggled to get to sleep. I did fasting about 4 years ago, and I found the same thing. If I fasted over 24 hours, it's like my hindbrain got upset and was trying to panic about when is the next meal coming. But you will be fine. Past attempts at fasting and keto have given me bad headaches in the first couple of days. This didn't happen this time, and I think that's because of what I'm eating when I'm eating. There's been a heavy focus on beef and bacon and eggs, so I have tried to stick as much as possible to Dr. Berry's proper human diet of beef, butter, bacon and eggs, because I, despite what I said earlier, I need that intervention. I need to lose this weight and get my life back on track. Past efforts to lose weight, which included fasting and keto, have led to bad headaches in the first couple of days. And that hasn't happened this time, and I think that's because there's a focus on fatty meat, whereas previously I was focused on chicken. That was the main meat that I was eating, which is low in fat. So I think I basically starved myself of something to do with the fat and protein intake and interaction, which was causing problems. But that hasn't happened this time, so I'm really pleased about that. No headaches. Every other day I have had a bowel movement, which is, you know, usually I go twice a day, but I'm down to about once every 2 days. It is diarrhea. It is very loose. I take that to mean that my body is in ketosis and it's still getting rid of excess water, which is involved in processing carbs, and it's flushing out my digestive tract because I have kind of given it the impression that we might be fasting by doing that one long fast. So here's the kind of thing that I've been eating. You can see that it's not simply steaks. I've had quite a few burgers. They're all very low carb. I have put some cheese in. I'm willing to tolerate, you know, things that just give me a little bit of carbs. You know, so most of this stuff, I guess, looks more keto than carnivore. But beef, cheese, the occasional bit of onion and pepper. One thing I want to talk to you about is lamb's liver, which is the primary liver that's available here in the shops. Now, I know that the idea is off-putting to some people, but fortunately for me, I was kind of raised eating liver. It's something that, you know, we had in my house growing up, and I like it. So, recently, I saw a video by a climber, a Scottish climber YouTuber, and I haven't got his name at the moment, but he recommends liver, and I was reminded of it, and I started looking into it, and liver is extremely high in nutrition. It's so full of nutrition that it's not recommended to eat it more than about once a week because you can actually overdose on some of the vitamins. I made sure that I had liver during this week. I cooked it with onions and I did a little gravy. After I had that meal, I felt so good. The one thing about liver is it's very high in nutrition. There's almost no fat though on lamb's liver. So what some recipes for liver and onions say is to add bacon when you cook it and cook it with gravy. Personally, I like the taste of the liver and onions and I don't want to add bacon. I've usually got smoked bacon in the house, so I don't want that flavor in with the liver. What I did do is, before I did anything with the liver and onions, I cooked some bacon, crispy bacon, streaky bacon. So that was where the fat was coming from in that meal, and after the liver, I felt so good. I got a warm, nice feeling that I have not had from food in a very long time. You can see from these photos there have been moments where I've kind of grabbed an easy meal, although to be honest the cost is a little bit prohibitive now. I've stepped into McDonald's and ordered burgers without buns. Now for the Big Mac or the Double Mac that's on at the moment, that was fine. I felt pretty good. They were a little unpalatable without the bun, to be honest, but it's 200 calories and it's got a bunch of sugar in it, so the bun had to go. But so the Big Mac was a little bit unpalatable, not as nice as a Big Mac with a bun. One morning I did have a double sausage and egg McMuffin without the muffin, and to be honest, my body was rejecting it from the get-go. This was yesterday or 2 days ago. It didn't smell good. I mean, it must have been normal for McDonald's. But it didn't smell good, and I have to tell you, I felt terrible for about 4 hours after eating it. I didn't have, any of the carb things. It was just an egg and 2 sausage patties, and I felt terrible. I was wiped out. I don't know what was in it. There's probably a small amount of carbs, but there's something about that breakfast McMuffin that did not work for me. I'm not going to be able to have that again. So on the subject of exercise, what I don't want is to lose 100 pounds and just be like a coat rack with a loose sack of skin on it. So I do want to keep up the exercise. I'm not, to be clear, I know a lot about fasting and keto. I'm not worried about muscle loss or anything like that. If you fast for even a couple of days, your human growth hormone goes up a lot. There's just no risk of losing muscle mass. There's no starvation whatsoever because your body's making everything it needs from your fat stores. And it's, the body's very resilient. And that's how this is supposed to work. When you eat, you put on a little bit of fat. Food is not supposed to be available for a while, and you burn off that fat. So I understand that the trick is keeping my insulin low, and all of this fat is coming off. So as I say, my energy levels have been really good, and I've done a couple of workouts with 10 kilo dumbbells. Today I did yoga, which I really enjoyed. My mood is always lifted more by yoga than by working out with free weights. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to get back in the gym and everything. But yoga's fine. It's great to stay kind of I hadn't done yoga in a long time, and I picked it up again recently a couple of months ago. So now once or twice a week I'm doing yoga, and I feel very good doing it. So I can recommend that to you. So yeah, 10 pounds lost in less than 7 days is amazing, and I feel good, and I can't wait to carry on this journey. So please like and subscribe if you want to carry on with me, and I'll see you in the next video.